Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So let's fix the tests tab as well on our profile page so that it can read what we want in a better way. So actually I said in the previous video that there's an issue here. I think the reason this date is off is because it's missing from the column itself, but I think this is fine. So what I want for now is when a lecturer, for example, goes to his profile, he sees the tests that he created, which is here. If the rank is not student, this is the part that has a problem. This is a profile.php controller, by the way, and I want to clean up this section here. So let's log in as a teacher, and so that we can see properly. So log in as any teacher. Mine is vibe and a password here. Alrighty then, so let's go to tests, and this has been dealt with. September, October, November. Okay, so this is looking good. Then let's go to our profile as a teacher, and there are tests here. So it seems things are actually good. September, October, November. So, but there's no ordering here, and I don't think we can manage to do this order by in a proper manner. Oh, actually we can, since we are doing it like this. Okay, so this was a better way of doing things, I think, because what we are doing here is we are reading from, as usual, what tests this teacher, whatever classes this teacher belongs to, and then once we get those, we then get the tests that belong to those classes. And the way we are doing it, we are using the in keyword, class ID in, and then those classes that we got from here, we add them into a string, and then we put them here. So nothing wrong with this particular method, it's okay. The only problem with this currently is that if the query here is quite long, let's say there are thousands of classes here, this query will become very long, and usually there's a limit to how long a query can be. So that may cause problems eventually. Not when the website is small, but once it gets big, that might lead to problems. This is why it's better to put a query in here instead of the string itself. That way MySQL will handle the result. The query itself will be small, but then the result of that query might be big, but then it will be immediately put inside another query, which will solve the problem of having limits on query size. So let's do that. Now this part here gets some extra information for the class, from the class ID, etc., etc. So let's mute it for now without disturbing much from here. So what I will do is I will mute it like so, or in good fashion like we did last time, let's just mute everything. We just need to know that data test rows is the final result, right? So let's close this up to here. Okay. Excuse me. So excuse me again. So let's copy this query here and paste it there, and of course we want the running of the query as well to be part of it. So let me get this, and actually let's see here. Yeah, either way this is fine. I'll paste that here. But what I want is to use the result of this query into this one right here. So copy this right there, copy. So we're getting rid of this part here and doing it inside the query. So let's paste this here at the beginning. So as you can see, it says class in, which is good, but then there's this. So we're replacing this with this entire query here. So let me cut this query and put it here. Bam. Okay. So select all from my table where user ID is equal to user ID and disabled blah blah blah. So user ID is right here, which is cool. That's the only thing we need. but then we need to put this one in data test rows as the final result. Yes, yes. And let me put this right here. Now the thing is, since we are reading tests and not classes, it would be a good idea to use the tests model, and that's because it comes with some extra perks here. Let's see here, because it reads, if you go to the test model, you see that it reads extra information every time you run a query. So it's a good idea to use that instead. So I'm going to put that new model and use the test model instead, since we are reading tests. That way we get the benefit of some extra info from there. So back here, and let's refresh. And we, of course, we get an error. So I wasn't expecting it to work right away, but let's see here. Operand should contain 1 columns. What's going on? PDO exception. So this means our query is bad. Now this is not giving me proper information, the information that I want. So let's see if we can try to figure it out from here. Now, a good way to test things is to get the query and just run it directly in MySQL SQL tab in PHP admin. Then what you do is you get rid of the prepared statements, because you can't use prepared statements there. What you do is you replace all the variables with the actual values. For example, this is the user ID here, right? And this is a variable, so I might as well replace it with what it contains. So this one contains disabled is equal to 0, and now since this is a lecturer, disabled will be empty. So this is literally nothing here. And class ID, select from my table. So I have to replace my table with actual value. And once I do that, I can run this in MySQL PHP my admin and then see a proper error from there that will solve the problem. So test model query, let's see here, select all from tests where disabled, let's imagine this is empty, where class ID in, and then here. Okay, so the reason is, I see the problem here. So it's saying operand should contain 1 columns. Okay, so it actually did tell me what the problem is. So like I said before, here, the query that is inside the in statement should only return 1 column. That way it can be used in the other one. Otherwise it will get confused as to which column to use. Now, since we are looking for a class ID, it makes more sense to return the class ID column, of course. So save that, that should solve the problem, refresh, and there we go. Now, in case this wasn't the problem, what you would do, like I had said, is replace the values here with actual values of all the variables, and then copy this whole thing, and then just go to your PHP My Admin, click on the SQL tab, and paste the content here, and try to run and see if you get any results there, or you get an error. In this case, I have an error here which says undefined variable tests on line 96. So let's go back and see what we have here. Where is 96? 96. So tests is unknown. Okay, so the reason we have nothing is because I'm replacing this with an unknown value. So let me add this to the comment as well by moving the comment section 1 line lower, and this should solve our problem. And there we go. So at least we have some good news here. Then let's order this by different. Here I'm just going to say order by ID descending like this. Okay, very good, and that ordering works like a charm. And yes, we can also add a search here just to be thorough. So we can copy from the tests situation, copy all of that, come back here, and let's paste this right between the query and the running of the query. That way we can intercept the query and change it if there is a find happening. So then I need to copy this query and paste it here. Let me paste it right next to the other one because there's some things I need to get from the first one. And this is the last part. Test like and test like find, copy, and I just want to add it here like that. Okay, and that should do it. Yes, so let me remove the first query here and we're done. So now I can run a search for, let's say, math. Okay, so I get nothing. So that clearly isn't working. Let's put a nothing. So I get literally nothing. Oh, no. The reason is it's returning to the basic info tab and not the tests tab. So that is a kind of a problem. So why is this happening though? So if tab tests, yes. Something weird. Okay, so the reason is that there's tab is equal to tests at the end here, which is required, right? So let's go to the search part of profile.php and fix this. So I'm going to go to views and let's go to profile tests view, right? Test, profile tab tests. This is the one I need. And this one has a form here for searching. Now, the form is supposed to refresh on the current page, so I'm wondering why it isn't. Because if I run something here and press enter, I lose the tab is equal to tests at the end there. So that isn't very good. So what to do? Well, we can change the form action here. Let's just say action. And let's look at what the current link is, because we just want to give it the current link. There's vibe.peters and equals. Oh, I think, let's see here, what's going on? Yeah, I think the real problem is, let's forget about the action, because this is supposed to just refresh the current page. So it should do a better job at it than me. So let's change the input and just give it a name. So what exactly are we looking for? We're looking for the word find, because this is what we are looking for in the find here. Yeah. So let's see if that will work. So click here and let's try and find math. Okay, so find is equal to math, but tab is equal to tests isn't there. So why? Oh my god, why is this happening? This is insane. Tab is equal to test. Anyway, what we can do though is we can add a hidden input here, because as we can see, this input creates a get variable here. If I search and say math like that, you see find is equal to math. That's good, but we also need another one, tab is equal to tests. So let's just trick it here and put an input of type hidden, and then we'll just give it a name of tab and give it a value of tests as well. That way it will be forced to add that to the tail of the search. So let's do math. Okay, invalid parameter number of bound variables does not match. Okay, so what this is saying is that, let's go back here. In the array here, the number of bound variables does not match. So this is true because I've added find, but I didn't add it here. So what I want to do instead is cut this and put AAR like that, and then put this like so, and say user ID. Let's see, let me put AAR user ID, and then move this here. and then put an equal sign like that. This should solve the problem right away. So let's refresh the page, and there we go. So you see tab is equal to tests is there, and it has given me a result that I want here. So that is cool. There we go. Search. If you want to keep the search result text here, just read it from the get variable find like this. If I go in here and want to put a value on this input, I'll say input value and say equals if is set or not empty. Let's put a not empty. It's much better to use that. Get find like that. If it's not empty, let's what do we do? Let's put a question mark here and echo it out. Yes, let's put that there, and then full colon and echo an empty string and close that up like that. So this time if I search for math, it remains in there as part of the search result. That way you remember what you actually searched for, which is cool. Okay, so very good. This is nice, yes. And this is the teacher, so at least they can click on this test to see what's going on here and edit the test. Very nice. Now, once we are done here, we can now go back to the student and give them a notifications of tests that are there. And then there's another problem on clicking to view their results, because currently pupils can't click to view their results. Let's fix that in the next video.